What is Inside Edition? It's this. And this. And this. And also this. It's sometimes this. It's never this. But it always brings you more to the story. And now it's always available. Inside Edition streaming.
32-year-old Andy Norton loved Legos growing up. At age 6, Andy did what a lot of kids do. Put them right up their noses. When the little piece called a Lego dot wouldn't come out, 6-year-old Andy concocted a plan that only a kid could come up with. Andy put a Lego man like this up the same nostril, hoping that it would click onto the dot and both pieces would come out at the same time. The Lego head got stuck too. Mom came to the rescue.
She's pulling him out with the tweezers.
But Mom didn't realize the other tiny piece was still inside. For the next 26 years, Andy was tormented by congestion, asthma, and sleep apnea. Then one day,
now I'm in the shower, doing my thing, and I'm blowing my nose in there, and out pops this Lego, and this memory came rushing back to me.
And this is the Lego piece that has been stuck in Andy's nose all those years.
It's been 13,600 years since these bones have seen the light of day. Researchers at the University of Iowa have just uncovered the skull and several bones of a mastodon.
Mastodons have been around for hundreds of thousands of years, millions, and only overlapped with humans in the very last couple thousand years.
Archaeologists say the mastodon was an early relative of the modern-day elephant. They roamed North America 3.5 million years ago, until about 10,500 years ago. In all, it took about 12 days of digging to unearth the mastodon. Archaeologists found stone tools and other human-made artifacts. They have carbon-dated the skull and believe it to be about 13,600 years old, around the time when both humans and mastodons shared the Earth together.
What does it take to get to Carnegie Hall? As the saying goes, practice, practice, practice.
I'm still waiting for someone to pinch me and wake me up.
Christina Ebersol Van Syock surely practiced. But being declared legally blind was the driving force that led her to perform at New York's Carnegie Hall, one of the most prestigious music venues in the country. For more of her story of perseverance, watch below or go to InsideEdition.com. Watch as an asteroid enters the Earth's atmosphere and lights up the sky as it flames out. The fiery scene took place over the Philippines. The European Space Agency said it was just the 9th asteroid that humankind has ever spotted before impact. Thankfully, the 1-meter space rock was harmless.
A young mom is desperate. She's banging away at the window of her Tesla because her 13-month-old son is trapped inside.
I thought I was going to take my baby out of there lifeless.
Cassandra Pineda was charging her electric car at a Tesla supercharger station in Los Angeles. She says when she finished, the car suddenly locked on its own, trapping her toddler Liam. It was a scorching 109 degrees outside. The danger was obvious. The car could turn into an oven inside in a matter of minutes. Nothing she did or used worked. Cassandra was screaming for help when a Good Samaritan came to her aid. After a lot of pounding with a fishing weight, he was able to bash in the window. Little Liam was scared and drenched with perspiration, but alive.
I just want to thank him from the bottom of my heart. If it wasn't for him, I don't know what would have happened with my son.
Nothing beats a beach house until this happens.
It's going!
Watch again as the house crumbles into the ocean. It happened in North Carolina's Outer Banks. And get this, it's the 3rd house to fall on the same street in just the past week. Whoa!
this is the moment a hero bodybuilder saved the life of a woman trapped in a sinking car.
The life or death drama happened here in Nutley, New Jersey. A woman trapped in her SUV in the waters of the Passaic River. There was no time to spare. A nearby witness called 911.
There's a car in the river. It looks like there's somebody in it.
Cops say the woman's vehicle somehow jumped the road and landed in the river. The 50-year-old woman fights for her life as the car fills with water. That's when bodybuilder Jason Moss came to the rescue. A driver on a bridge shot this video of the dramatic scene as Jason tried to save the woman.
There's a gentleman in the water. He just got the door open.
Jason put those hard-earned muscles to work, easily lifting the woman to safety, and that's when that dramatic photo was taken.
Where did you bring her? Did you bring her up the boat ramp here?
I brought her up the boat ramp right there, and at that moment, rescue arrived.
The SUV driver was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
He's a rambunctious little boy who's full of energy.
He loves to climb, period.
But no one ever expected 6-year-old Major Ashmore would actually climb to the top of the 50-foot tree in his backyard. In this cell phone video, you can see Major 50 feet up clinging to a branch. He asked his mom to call for help. Mom, Kate Ashmore, immediately called 911. The fire department raced to the family's home in North Carolina. When they saw how high the boy had climbed and the sogginess of the backyard that couldn't support the weight of the hook and ladder, that's when the electric company sent a bucket truck. Operator Douglas Lane raised the bucket into position, and then the big moment.
When I grabbed a hold of him and he got him in the bucket, the adrenaline kicked in, and I was shaking.
Mission accomplished.
Christina Pereira was in tears when she realized her wedding gown, supposedly preserved in a box for 30 years, was not inside.
Now, this is not my dress.
The New Jersey mom had gotten it down from the attic.
She's been waiting for this for years. No, you're not.
Her 27-year-old daughter, Samantha, just got engaged in Portugal.
The first thing my mom especially wanted to do was finally get her dress so we can finally try it on.
But when Samantha put the gown on to see if it would fit, they couldn't believe it was the wrong one.
I cried. You know, my husband's like, why are you crying? And it was shocking because I saved it for 30 years.
For the whole story, click below or go to InsideEdition.com.
I don't want anyone else to go through this. It has been my worst nightmare.
Candace George doesn't know if her daughter Ava will ever be the same bubbly teenager. After an accident left her with severe brain trauma, 15-year-old Ava Broadhead, who was on her Utah High School's competitive drill team, was supposed to be celebrating by marching in her homecoming parade. It was canceled due to poor air quality, so she went to hang out with friends in a park. That's when she decided to try car surfing.
Tell the teacher we're surfing.
Like in the 1985 movie Teen Wolf.
I'm not quite sure why she decided to get on top of the roof of the car that day.
Now she remains in a coma in a Salt Lake City hospital. For more of her story, click below or go to InsideEdition.com.
It took careful twisting, but a cat with its head stuck in a mayonnaise jar is breathing better thanks to an Ohio police officer. The Norwalk Police Department shared video of an officer helping the stuck feline. One more twist got this kitty out of a condiment conundrum.
My child is dying slowly in front of my eyes, and I can't do anything about it.
Kirsty and Eric Austin's daughter is living with one of the rarest fatal diseases in the world.
I just remember mumbling sounds I had never, ever heard before. And I glanced back in my rear view and I'm like, Emma, are you okay? And she's looking out the window and she's just making these noises. I immediately called 911 and they're like, ma'am, she's in a seizure. And I'm just thinking, excuse me, what? The genetic testing came back for Emma and one thing was positive. Emma is missing a gene called TPP1. These children lose their ability to talk, walk, see, swallow. It was a daunting feeling. And so I was actually the one, and I just blurted it out. Is she going to die? Are you telling me right now, is my daughter going to die? And she said, yes. There are no known survivors.
For more of Emma's story, click below or go to InsideEdition.com.
Wrestling a gator is probably not what this Texas police officer had on his to-do list. The Fulshire Police Department says they were called out to a suburban home for a possible intruder. The culprit was spotted on the front porch. The officer had the equipment to capture the juvenile alligator safely, but he decided to go with his bare hands. Even though the gator was small, his teeth were still sharp, and he clearly didn't want to leave his spot in the shade. Alligators are a protected game animal in the state of Texas. They are no longer endangered, but special permits are required to hunt, raise, or possess alligators. Look at you, you're a hero. The alligator was moved to a safer place, both for the gator and the humans.
The person these cops are desperately looking for has no idea they're right outside his door.
Hello? Is Zachary here?
Yeah?
Zachary.
And this 5-year-old boy is just who they want to chat with.
Zachary, can we talk to you for a second?
No.
It started when Zachary called the police in his New Zealand city to invite them to his birthday. Little did the birthday boy know they'd actually show up.
You can come in.
Zachary was shocked, especially when they took him outside.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Zachary. Happy birthday to you.
This little guy was lucky to be found when he was. Firefighters in Brazil spotted an ocelot cub as they were fighting a forest fire in Rio de Janeiro. Rescuers gave it water and sent it to a hospital. But their work is not done as wildfires continue to burn in 2 major cities.
Get out of here! Did you even pay rent? A deer somehow got into a New Jersey apartment building and decided to squat. First responders were called to evict the animal. See ya!
We got the Gatorade game. Look at you, man.
Nothing like a good surprise along the route. A delivery driver was floored to see one homeowner treat him to a cold one along his way. You can hear the Amazon driver excited over the Gatorade.
We got the Gatorade game. Look at you, man.
You see, Gage Mueller, who lives in Texas, left out a mini fridge with a sign on it that read, "Delivery and Postal, thank you for all you do. Please help yourself to a cold drink." And that's exactly what this driver did. He wasn't shy about sharing how he felt about it.
Oh, thank you, Gage.
It's not the first time we've seen a happy delivery driver at this front door.
I gave you more than you needed.
Remember the singing Amazon driver? Must be something about this house.
So tell me, how does it feel?
He may be America's most dedicated pizza delivery dude. Look at him trudging down the tracks, trying to locate the hungry passenger who ordered a pizza pie from a broken down train.
They were stuck on the train. I was like, wow, okay, this is a first.
Amtrak train number 161 from New York City to Washington, D.C. had stopped dead with a mechanical problem in Delaware. After 2 hours on the stalled train, a passenger called in an order to the nearby Dom's New York-style pizzeria in the town of Newport, Delaware.
We have a delivery, some guys are stuck on the train. Can you do that? I'm like, I got that.
Another passenger shot video as Jim Leary arrives with the pizzas. You had to walk down an embankment to get to the tracks.
Holding 2 pizzas, yes.
Then Jim has to find his customer. How did you get the pizza to him, though? I mean, did he open a window? What? I don't understand.
They were hanging out the door. So I pretty much just, here you go.
Looks like an ordinary pizza delivery, right? Wrong. Just as the DoorDash guy is about to leave the pie, oops, it falls out of the box. And this is the yucky part. He puts it right back in like nothing ever happened with his bare hands. Rodney King Jr. of Detroit and his wife Kanita had been inside the home watching a movie.
Neither one of us felt like cooking, so she said, how about we get pizza tonight?
They got an alert that the driver had arrived. Immediately, they knew things just weren't right.
While he was walking up, he was holding the pizza vertically.
Then the unthinkable. The pepperoni pizza falls right out.
At that point, I'm shocked. My wife's sitting there and all, and we were just hoping that he would give us a phone call.
The driver puts the breadsticks on top of the box, and off he goes.
We called DoorDash, and we received a refund.
Powerful stories. Impactful investigations.
How many times has your car been stolen?
5 times.
Yeah.
What? And a little bit of fun.
Your spare's in the pool!
On Inside Edition streaming.
We've shown you dust devil videos before, but never quite this close. Watch as a storm chaser drives right into an enormous dust devil. This is in Anson, Texas. A tower of debris whips around his car, but just as soon as he gets out of the vortex, it's sunny again, giving him one last shot of that monster as it makes its way across the farmland.
A 10-year-old girl is curled up in the woods. Is she sleeping? Or has something terrible happened to her? Little Peyton has a history of sleepwalking, but never like this. Authorities say she wandered away from her home, apparently in the throes of a sleepwalking episode. Josh Klober was at his home in Arkansas when he heard the breaking news about the missing girl. A drone pilot, he packed up his gear and raced to Louisiana. It took just 30 minutes before he spotted something. It was Peyton.
She wasn't moving. Some pretty bad thoughts kind of run through your mind.
Then she awakens.
She's awake!
Yeah! Klober directed rescuers to Peyton's location.
I kept the spotlight on her so the authorities could find their way in.
You can see a family friend lift the youngster into his arms. He carries her through the woods to a police car.
She's awake!
A 2-month-old hippopotamus with social media clout is attracting visitors to a Thai zoo. Meet Mudang, a wiggly pygmy hippo who has quite a fan base online. Her first video chronicled Mudang's first 2 weeks of life. That clip got over 20 million views. Her keeper at the Chonburi Zoo said he didn't expect her to get this famous. Mudang made her public debut at just 15 days old. Her internet fame has people grabbing their cameras to see her in person. This visitor says he left home at 6:30 in the morning just to see Mudang. Zoo officials have had to limit time in Mudang's viewing area to 5 minutes per person on weekends because the lines to see her were far too long. Pygmy hippos are an endangered species because of poaching and the loss of their natural habitat. The Pygmy Hippo Foundation says there are only 2,000 of them alive in the wild.
It is so traumatic. Oh my God, I feel like I'm about to die. I'm in so much pain.
Former model Erica Deja is fighting for her life, battling several life-threatening illnesses.
When I was 13 years old, I was cheerleading at a basketball game, and out of nowhere, my legs went paralyzed, but they were also in pain, so I just collapsed. I ended up in the middle of urgent care at my PCP, crying, gasping for air, wondering why I can't breathe.
She was diagnosed with antisynthetase syndrome, myositis, and interstitial lung disease.
I was just so genuinely depressed after diagnosis, despite how good I look. I mean, outside, on the inside, I can't even lift my legs to walk over there. I cannot believe this is my life. I say this like every time. I cannot believe that tomorrow I can die from this lung disease.
Was Jamie Knoll the most corrupt sheriff in America? His list of crimes is staggering. Even the special judge in his criminal case has expressed disgust with Knoll's behavior.
I told Mr. Knoll, don't do anything stupid. Do not try to deceive me, defy me. You will not like the consequences. Today is that day. You are not the law. You don't interpret the law. You don't enforce the law. You're not above the law. I find that you are in contempt of this court. Take him into custody.
For more on Jamie Knoll, click below or go to InsideEdition.com.
3, 2, 1, see ya!
A daredevil leaps off a building. What happened next was totally unexpected. The base jumper crashed into the side of a high-rise apartment building in Acapulco, Mexico, and was left dangling helplessly. He's hanging on to a strap for dear life. But wait, it's Granny to the rescue.
I see you.
This little old lady grabs the base jumper by the hand, helping the luckless leaper onto her balcony and to safety.
I'm okay.
Do you want a glass of water?
No, thank you.
And here's that base jumper today, Cody Kozlowski, back home in Michigan.
That lady was a sweetheart, very helpful, kind, and nice. I'm sorry for scaring her.
Do you want a glass of water?
No, thank you.
Drama erupted at an outdoor wedding photo session when a rattlesnake sank its fangs into the groom's leg. The newlyweds spent a chunk of their big day in the emergency room. Laura Loretz and Johnny Benson were having their wedding pictures taken in the spectacular scenery outside Fort Collins, Colorado. To get the perfect background, they strolled hand in hand down a trail through ankle-high grass. That's when the rattler struck. Wedding photographer Maddie May took these amazing pictures.
There were two little tiny puncture marks right on his ankle.
The stricken groom was placed on a gurney and rushed to the hospital. Of course, his bride went with him. And look at the relief on their faces when doctors tell them the bite was what's called a dry bite. The snake didn't actually release any poison. Just in case, Johnny was given a tetanus shot, and then the couple joined their guests at the wedding reception, delayed but delighted.
The driver of this garbage truck in Chattanooga, Tennessee, spotted a stowaway. When the truck arrived at a local fire station, the iguana was still hanging on for dear life, and these firemen were more than happy to help it.
Each day, you just never know what you're going to run into. I mean, it could be fires one day, bad calls the next, and then something like this. So, yeah, it was fun to deal with.
If you're from the Chattanooga area and happen to be missing an iguana, you're asked to get in touch with the McCamey Animal Center.
You're watching a 5-year-old boy climbing into a cooler and getting trapped inside. It happened on the family patio in Pompano Beach, Florida. Unbeknownst to his parents, little Nicholas Waynes squished himself into the cooler. The latch didn't lock yet. You can see the slight crack in the cooler before Nicholas sticks his little finger through and hits the latch, shutting the airtight lid.
We heard this muffled scream, and we had no idea where it was coming from. We ran outside, and we're standing here, and you still hear it. Rob opens the cooler. I grab Nicholas. He's just terrified, and he just grabs onto me so tight. It was just really traumatizing for all of us.
Robert and Maria Waynes want other families to realize the potential dangers of these coolers.
When he lowered the cooler, it was sitting on top like this. His little fingers pushed the latch out. Now the cooler is locked. We hope that there are some changes to the latches on the coolers.
This guy is pushing a wheelbarrow full of pennies into the Department of Motor Vehicles to pay a bill. Nick Stafford took revenge on his local DMV by paying auto sales tax with 5 wheelbarrows of pennies.
How much was the total tax bill?
$87.45.
The staff at the DMV office in Lebanon, Virginia had to count each penny by hand, and there were 298,745 of them. Where do you even get all those pennies?
Got the pennies from the bank. They came rolled in the paper rolls. So instead of just taking the pennies and rolls to the DMV, I paid 11 people to come in with hammers and break up the penny rolls.
Then there was the price of the wheelbarrows he needed to carry 1,600 pounds of pennies. Total cost, $2,000. This ended up costing you quite a bit of money. Was it all really worth it?
Absolutely, worth every penny of it.
Even at 100 years old, Dorothy Hanesian's hips don't lie, as she told Arizona's KPHO.
I do enjoy dancing.
She started belly dancing at 65 years old and has been shaking and shimmying ever since. Miss Dorothy took up belly dancing, which is traditionally performed by women, because she says she couldn't follow a male lead. Miss Dorothy also has a love for traveling, snowmobiling, and even riding motorcycles, but there's something special about dancing.
Once I start dancing, once I'm in the outfit, I am a dancer. That's all I know, and I can do it all. And I still can do it.
Besides avoiding drinking and smoking and maintaining an active social calendar, Miss Dorothy's advice for anyone planning to live a happy 100 years is this:
don't be afraid to live.
Hello, is this thing on?
Wow! It's cartoon character Peter Griffin come to life. Actor Rob Franzese loves impersonating Peter Griffin from Family Guy. He's been doing it for years at Comic-Con, but recently he's blown up in a huge way thanks to TikTok.
Jeez, they finally dragged me over to this platform. I'm just sitting here with Inside Edition, getting interviewed.
Now it's really taken off. I mean, you're a pretty big deal now on TikTok.
People have been picking it up like wild. I did one with my cousin's baby dressed like Stewie, and that ended up getting like millions of views. Real life Peter Griffin here with the real life Stewie here. And remember, kids, when you poop in your dreams, you poop for real.
You want a popsicle? Huh? Breakfast popsicle?
Like Peter Griffin,
And a bird, birds away.
Rob Franzese has a favorite song too.
And it's come to my attention that some of you have not heard that.
It's the jarring screech of out-of-control car tires. Then, this happens. The speeding minivan barrels into two parked vehicles in Brooklyn, flipping on its side and pinning the driver inside. One by one, neighbors emerge from their homes to see what's going on. Working as a team, the neighborhood heroes shove with all their might to free the trapped driver. All together now. Success. The van is back up on four wheels and the driver is rescued. Eudice James joined in.
Everybody just got together and then basically left the vehicle.
Cops say the minivan driver was drunk. He's accused of hitting a mom and her 3-year-old daughter in a stroller just minutes before ramming into the parked cars.
Jeannie DiNapoli was trying to make her yard an oasis for nature, but found herself in court defending what she calls her natural garden. Her Catskill, New York yard received some negative attention from town officials. Some have been trying to get her to cut it, saying it violates town codes. This past summer, the town of Catskill ordered her to mow it. It issued citations for overgrown weeds and for being a potential fire hazard. That led to a battle in court.
I think that a lot of the issue is aesthetic opinion. I think that code enforcement does not like the way that my yard looks.
For more on this story, click below or head on over to InsideEdition.com.
Kidnapped at knife point, punched in the face, and made to fear for her life. 21-year-old Alexis Rulin survived an ex-boyfriend abducting her from her school parking lot.
I was begging, I was pleading, and then, I kind of noticed that that would make him more upset. So I just stopped crying and I just stopped responding to him, just let him hit me, just kept driving where he told me to drive. I'm not a religious person, but I was praying. And he just kept going. He tells me that, well, you had been wanting to watch that documentary about the serial killer, and I'm going to kill you, and both of us are going to have our own Netflix series. These specific statements that just really stick out in my head, and I'll never forget them.
To watch more of Alexis' story, click below or go to InsideEdition.com.
Davey Blackburn remembers his wife Amanda, whose life was cut short one terrible day in 2015.
A 28-year-old mom shot dead inside of her own home.
Adding to the tragedy, she was 12 weeks pregnant with their second child.
One of the natural accompaniments to grief is guilt. People try to rationalize, well, what if? What if I had done this? Would that have changed the situation? And guilt can honestly get people very paralyzed because they have to begin to wrestle down and go, okay, I could not have changed this. What happened cannot be undone. I knew as a pastor the right thing to do and the right thing to say. I had preached messages prior to all of this about how it's important to forgive, that if you don't forgive other people, then it becomes a cancer that rots you on the inside. And as I began to make that choice, then over time, my heart began to catch up with that.
It was a chaotic and confusing situation for
A reporter jumped out of the way just in time when he was nearly hit by a car in the middle of delivering a live news report.
Yeah, we're okay. Everybody's okay.
Alex Savage from KTVU in San Francisco jumped out of the way as a white vehicle flew into a sidewalk. But he quickly went right back to reporting, except this time the news was about him.
I just would like to thank Chip for... Thanks, buddy.
No, you're all right.
Yeah.
You're all right.
Thanks.
No,
it's scary.
Thankfully, no one was injured in the incident, but it definitely shook up the reporter.
Doing okay. We were on air live, and we had a car that veered off the road. This car, in fact, right here. And it almost hit me.
It was a lucky day for this reporter and his photographer, and a moment we don't think these two will easily forget.
Situation for...
What is Inside Edition? It's this. And this. And this. And also this. It's sometimes this. It's never this. But it always brings you more to the story. And now it's always available. Inside Edition streaming.
I'm just sitting thinking, get this truck off me and get me to the hospital because I do not want to die in the middle of the street. I felt a tug on my foot and I pulled. And as soon as I pulled, I realized I'm caught. I'm trapped. This truck was going a half mile an hour. So it's not like it hit me and it was just over. There was enough time for me to process that I'm losing my leg.
For more on this story, click the link below or head on over to InsideEdition.com.
An emotional reunion for a team and their coach. Drew Olson teaches history and coaches basketball and football at Northridge High School in Utah. But for the past 5 months, he's been far away from home, serving with the Army and being deployed to Afghanistan. The father of two says his students didn't forget him while he was halfway around the world.
They kept in contact with me while I was gone, sent me birthday letters, care packages.
And he didn't forget them either, snapping a photo of himself with the team's flag there. So when Drew found out he was coming home early, his wife and kids were there to greet him. Then it was time to surprise his other kid. Drew says it was a whirlwind of emotions.
I don't even know how to describe it. That reaction, it was something very special that I'll never forget and always hold tight to.
This boy is heartbroken. He can't believe what just happened. Someone has taken his lemonade stand. The youngster has been selling lemonade for more than a year at an intersection near his home outside San Diego. He says his little lemonade stand was drawing lots of customers. I spoke to 11-year-old Liam Rader and his parents. It happened when Liam walked away from the lemonade stand for just a few minutes to get cups. That's when a gray pickup truck drives by, reverses, and heads back to the lemonade stand. First, the table goes into the back of the pickup. The driver throws away Liam's sign and then loads in the chairs. Just as he drives off, Liam returns and sees his lemonade stand disappearing into the distance.
My initial thought was maybe he thought it was free because a lot of people, they leave things up by the road. I was hoping it was a misunderstanding.
Esperance Luminesca Forzina is officially a 2-time Guinness World Record holder. She has the most tattoos and body modifications of any woman in history.
I chuckle a little bit because I say I got 2 Guinness World Records for just being myself.
99.8% of her body is tattooed, and she has 89 body modifications.
It wasn't really until someone pointed out that they're like, I think you've already surpassed the Guinness World Record for tattoos and modifications, and I hadn't even considered that I would be eligible. I don't regret any of the experiences I've been through. I've learned something through all of them. All of them helped shape the person that I am today. I have something permanent, and a lot of people spend money on things that last for a few hours.
For more, click below or go to InsideEdition.com.
At 19 years old, Anthony Pichone dreamed of being a professional motocross rider, which is off-road motorcycle racing. But a racing accident changed everything. The impact from a spinal cord injury left him paralyzed.
Which is a hard thing to hear at any age, but especially 19 years old when you think, you have your whole life ahead of you. And I really, honestly didn't think I was going to make it.
For more of Anthony's story, click below or go to InsideEdition.com.
Terrified passengers bust out the bus windows after the driver allegedly took them on a nightmare ride. The passengers thought they were headed to a spooky event here at the legendary ship the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California. They were promised a night of fear, but what happened on that bus was much scarier than they ever expected. 30 passengers were picked up at the Aquarium of the Pacific parking lot for what was supposed to be a 10-minute ride to the ship. Instead, the driver took them in the opposite direction. One passenger pleaded with the driver to stop.
Open the door!
The bus was still moving when passengers started climbing out of the windows to escape.
We were in the middle of an intersection. People started kicking open the windows and trying to leave the bus getting out of the windows.
This driver is insane! Insane!
They're trying to tell him to stop. You got to stop right now. The police are on their way.
Wow. That's crazy.
I really hope I get through the race tomorrow morning.
It's haunting video as a long-distance runner expresses jitters over competing in a half marathon at Disneyland the next day. 35-year-old Caleb Graves says he was worried about the scorching heat.
I was outside for like 20 minutes walking my dog, just walking around the block. It was hot, but I felt fine. And then like 10 minutes after I got back in, I just passed out. Just fell asleep, no control over my body. It was heat exhaustion.
On race day, the high was 108 degrees. And when Caleb crossed the finish line, he was clutching his chest in cardiac arrest. The Georgetown Law School graduate was a Disney superfan. He ran marathons at both Disneyland and Disney World. This time, the heat was unbearable. This cardiologist says Caleb Graves' death is a lesson for everyone.
This specific issue probably could have been avoided. When your body is telling you that there is something wrong, it's very important that you listen to it.
A child went to the airport and took an unexpected trip when he climbed onto a baggage conveyor belt and got carried away. It happened at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport in Atlanta. Authorities say the 2-year-old slipped away from his mother as she was trying to print their boarding passes. He was then able to slip by the Spirit Airlines ticket counter through an unmanned section. The airport surveillance cameras captured the toddler's entire journey. The next camera shows him trying to crawl away before he goes through a scanning machine, climbing over luggage that followed him. It didn't work. Employees in the bag room were shocked to see the boy come through on the belt, and they rushed to help him, calling for an ambulance after they noticed his hand was swollen. Authorities say the child is going to be all right.
Dad is off to work, but his little boy won't let him go. Look how tight he's hanging on. A boy and his dad. Nothing beats that.
An endangered whale is swimming freely after locals stepped in to help. Authorities were alerted when people saw a whale in distress underneath a wharf in New Zealand. Somehow, a juvenile pygmy blue whale wedged itself underneath a privately owned pier. Marine life experts estimate the whale was between 45 and 50 feet long. They knew time was one of the most important factors in saving this whale's life, so multiple organizations worked quickly to try to lead the whale out. Eventually, it took a rescue crew pulling out several of the wharf's posts in order to free the whale. The wharf had to be partially dismantled using an excavator. Once freed from the wharf, boats were positioned to block the whale from swimming towards the shore, and a barge helped guide the whale out to sea. The New Zealand Department of Conservation says the pygmy blue whale was last seen swimming into deeper water.
Carissa Gill had been in for ultrasounds for her twin girls before, but never saw anything like this.
It first started off, baby B was actually kissing baby A on the cheek. And then they started getting closer, and then they actually kissed on the mouth, and it was just so cute.
At almost 25 weeks, a sonogram showed Carissa's babies cuddling in the womb face to face.
It was just so exciting to see them like that. I didn't think that they were going to be that close together, but they are. and it was just so beautiful to see. I don't know how else to explain it, but just seeing them so close like that, it was just amazing. I've never seen anything like it.
Carissa says she'll hold on to the pictures forever.
I'm saving all of these just so I could show them, and they're not gonna believe it. They're gonna be shocked.
It's a bear standing upright on just 2 legs. But wait, the bear doesn't have any front legs. Outdoorsman Kirk Price captured the creature on a trail cam in West Virginia.
I was stunned. The terrain this bear is in is extremely, extremely steep. So just for this bear to get around, it's truly amazing.
We agree, it's a bear surviving in the wilderness on 2 legs.
2 U.S. soldiers in civilian clothing were attacked and physically assaulted by a nationalist Turkish group over the weekend. Video on X shows members of the Turkey youth group TGB holding a man down. They put a white hood on his head while chanting, quote, "Yankee, go home." The U.S. Embassy to Turkey posted a statement on X, saying, "We can confirm reports that U.S. service members embarked aboard the USS Wasp were the victims of an assault in Izmir today and are now safe. We thank Turkish authorities for their rapid response and ongoing investigation." Local authorities said 5 other U.S. soldiers joined in as the incident unfolded. Police intervened and 15 members of the nationalist group were detained. There is now an investigation underway.
Powerful stories. Impactful investigations.
How many times has your car been stolen?
5 times. Yeah.
What? And a little bit of fun.
There's bears in the pool!
On Inside Edition streaming. The Coast Guard Marine Board of Investigation has just released video of part of the ill-fated Titan submersible. In June 2023, 5 people died on a private expedition to see the wreckage of the Titanic. About an hour and 45 minutes into its dive, the submersible called the Titan lost contact with its owners, OceanGate Expeditions. That sparked an international search for the Titan and her passengers, which concluded when the Coast Guard determined the submersible imploded. This footage was taken by a remotely operated vehicle and released as part of a 2-week-long hearing by the Coast Guard into the Titan implosion. The wreckage of the Titan was found about 990 feet from the bow of the Titanic. A Coast Guard spokesperson said human remains were recovered from the Titan ocean floor site. The remains were recovered and respectfully transported to the shore.
1, 2, 3, go!
Nice job, guys.
A deer gleefully ran away from its rescuers in California. The Oakland Fire Department says a neighbor stopped into the station to tell them they saw a deer stuck between a house and garage while on their morning walk. Firefighters arrived on the scene to witness a deer trapped upside down between the 2 walls. Rescue crews used rope to secure the deer's legs and lift her off the ground. They turned her body so that the deer's feet were pointing down. It was not an easy task to slowly pull the deer out safely.
There you go, buddy. Pull.
It took about an hour for firefighters and animal control to successfully bring the deer out of its tight situation. Next time, this deer will stick to running through the trees.
They are 2 best friends on a hike. Woohoo! When they stumble onto something really spooky. Jesse Clausen and Camille Avarella were taking lots of videos and photos trying to capture the magnificent landscape known as Long's Peaks in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. They took note of this image, way in the distance. Zooming in to the tiny dot, they realized, much to their shock, it was a mysterious thing.
We were like, what the hell is that? We were just very confused.
It looked like a 20-foot alien, a humanoid, clinging to the rock. Are these the arms? Are those the legs? Well, it may look super creepy, but the experts we spoke to say the most reasonable explanation is that it's a unique rock formation that when the sun hits it just right, looks like a giant creature from another world.
Who's this dude wearing, of all things, a television on his head? And why in the world is he leaving an old-fashioned box TV on a stranger's front porch? It's a mystery that's baffling police outside Richmond, Virginia. It usually happens around midnight, and TV Dude is apparently fully aware he's on surveillance video. Watch him wave at the camera. He's delivered at least 60 TV sets.
Oh my god, they're everywhere.
These guys all woke up to a TV set left on their doorsteps.
I was like, whoa, it's kind of funny, but it's also kind of creepy.
The three guys thought it was so nuts, they drove around the neighborhood, pointing out all the TVs left on the front porches. The guys were on the scene when police got there to investigate and loaded all the TVs on a truck. For now, TV Dude remains on the loose, but if he's going to be so generous, maybe he should consider leaving a more modern flat-screen TV.
Oh my god.
It's a daring rescue from a burning car.
Is there people inside? Oh my god.
This driver pulled over when he saw a car aflame in Tacoma, Washington.
Your car is burning!
Another Good Samaritan tries to punch the windows out with his bare fists. More Good Samaritans join in. Just as they yank the door open, the rescuers bravely pull the motorist out of the wreckage. And here's the hero who used that fence post to break in the window, Mohammed Malkawi.
A lot of people would run from this kind of danger, and you ran towards it. Why?
I had the same experience before.
That's right. When he was 6 years old, he made the mistake of pouring paint thinner on a fire.
I burned my whole body.
You can still see the scars.
I just thought about one thing. It's saving this man's life.
Imagine coming over to visit your father and seeing this. She can't believe it. Courtney doesn't want her family name revealed, but she gave us permission to use the shocking videotape shot inside the house. Look at the kitchen counters and cabinets, piled with everything, including mouse traps. The stove is covered with crud. The refrigerator may be filled, but would you want to eat anything in it? Look at the icy buildup.
I'm gonna have to break up this ice.
And check out the pantry and all that outdated food.
Oh, 2013. Would you eat this?
Even the backyard was a hoarder nightmare.
Everything and anything he can save, he will save.
Courtney says her father is 75 and having memory issues. She entered the house while Dad was away visiting family and immediately got to work trying to clean up the house before he returned.
I think he'll be a little bit frustrated for things that are out of place or a little bit moved, but I think that he will get over it and be appreciative of the functionality.
Getting married was the happiest day of Samantha Burns' life. And while other brides pack away their gowns forever, every year on her anniversary, Samantha wears hers to remember her big day.
It's just such a special moment when I get to open this and see my dress. It reminds me of the celebration we had.
Last year, she went golfing. Yup, in her gown. Then there was the cruise in Boston Harbor. She just can't stop wearing her gown, even on trash day. Then it's off to the gym for push-ups and even pull-ups. Breakfast at the diner? No problem. Even a hike in the woods.
I don't care if the dress gets dirty at all. It's just gonna help us remember all the fun things that we did. Dirty or clean, I'm gonna love it all the same.
Here's to many more years in a dress that most women wear just once.
Danielle Perez, come on down.
This woman is fulfilling a lifelong dream to be a contestant on The Price is Right.
$6.74.
As you can see, Danielle Perez is in a wheelchair. She lost her feet in a tragic accident 10 years ago when a trolley car in San Francisco ran over her.
I'm so excited right now.
But look at the prizes she's going for. One of them is something she can never use.
First, this folding treadmill features 24 built-in speed and incline programs.
You heard right, a treadmill.
Let's give it to her. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
It's hilarious. I'm in a wheelchair. I can appreciate this. That delicious irony.
So what's Danielle going to do with the treadmill? She says it'll make a great piece of furniture.
If you can't laugh at this, then what on earth can you laugh at?
15 bottles of wine were stolen from a family-owned business, and California police are trying to find the suspects. Surveillance footage shows 2 women in the wine section of the store, while the third chatted with the clerk. The suspects were wearing dresses that the Upland Police Department described as having a makeshift kangaroo pouch. None of the women bought anything, but police say the suspects made off with $1,125 worth of wine.
These are some of the suspected drugs that have been released by the drug mule that was arrested at Oratambo Airport on Sunday morning.
And authorities say there's more to come. The South African Police Service says it followed through on a tip about a drug mule transporting cocaine into the country from Brazil. Investigators say they stopped a woman who was found to have these capsules and much more inside of her. The woman was reportedly taken to a hospital where cops say she will release all of the alleged contraband. They say they won't know the scope of the seizure until they have all the evidence.
What is Inside Edition? It's this. And this. And this. And also this. It's sometimes this. It's never this. But it always brings you more to the story. And now it's always available. Inside Edition streaming.